English grammar in use. Lemon Murphy.
Unit 2, Present Simple, I do. A. Study this example situation. Alex is a bus driver, but now he is in bed asleep. He is not driving a bus, he is asleep. But he drives a bus. He is a bus driver. Drives, works, does, etc. is the present simple. I drive. I work. I do, etc. We drive. We work. We do, etc. You drive. You work. You do, etc. They drive. They work. They do, etc. He drives. He works. He does, etc. She drives. She works. She does, etc. It drives. It works. It does, etc. B. We use the present simple to talk about things in general. We use it to say that something happens all the time, or repeatedly, or that something is true in general.
Nurses look after patients in hospitals.
I usually go away at weekends.
The Earth goes round the Sun.
The cafe opens at 7:30 in the morning.
We say, I work, but he works. We say, you go, but it goes. We say, they teach, but my sister teaches. We say, I have, but he has. For spelling, ending with S or ES. See Appendix 6. C. We use do, does, to make questions and negative sentences.
Do I work?
I don't work.
Do I drive?
I don't drive.
Do I do?
I don't do. Do we work?
We don't work.
Do we drive?
We don't drive.
Do we do?
We don't do. Do you work?
You don't work.
Do you drive?
You don't drive.
Do you do?
You don't do. Do they work?
They don't work.
Do they drive?
They don't drive.
Do they do?
They don't do. Does he work?
He doesn't work.
Does he drive?
He doesn't drive.
Does he do?
He doesn't do. Does she work?
She doesn't work.
Does she drive?
She doesn't drive.
Does she do?
She doesn't do. Does it work?
It doesn't work.
Does it drive?
It doesn't drive.
Does it do?
It doesn't do.
I come from Canada. Where do you come from?
I don't go away very often.
What does this word mean?
Rice doesn't grow in cold climates.
In the following examples, do is also the main verb, do you do, doesn't do, etc.
What do you do?
I work in a shop. He's always so lazy. He doesn't do anything to help.
D. We use the present simple to say how often we do things.
I get up at 8 o'clock every morning.
How often do you go to the dentist?
Julie doesn't drink tea very often.
Robert usually goes away 2 or 3 times a year.
E. I promise. I apologize, etc. Sometimes we do things by saying something. For example, when you promise to do something, you can say, I promise. When you suggest something, you can say, I suggest.
I promise I won't be late.
What do you suggest I do?
I suggest that you.
In the same way, we say, I apologize. I advise. I insist. I agree. I refuse, etc. Present simple and present continuous, Unit 3 to 4. Present tenses, for the future. Unit 19. Exercises 2.1. Complete the sentences using the following verbs.
Cause, causes. Close, closes. Connect, connects. Go, goes. Leave, leaves. Speak, speaks. Take, takes.
Tanya speaks German very well.
Ben and Jack go to the same school.
Bad driving causes many accidents.
The museum closes at 4 o'clock on Sundays.
My parents live in a very small flat.
The Olympic Games take place every 4 years.
The Panama Canal connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans.
Two point two. Put the verb into the correct form.
Julia doesn't drink tea very often.
What time do the banks close here?
I have a car, but I don't use it much.
Where does Maria come from? Is she Spanish?
What do you do?
I'm an electrician.
Look at this sentence. What does this word mean?
David isn't very fit. He doesn't do any sport.
It takes me an hour to get to work in the morning. How long does it take you?
Two point three. Complete the sentences using these verbs. Sometimes you need the negative. Believe, eat, flow, go, grow, make, rise, tell, translate.
The Earth goes round the sun.
Rice doesn't grow in cold climates.
The sun rises in the east.
Bees make honey.
Vegetarians don't eat meat.
An atheist doesn't believe in God.
An interpreter translates from one language into another.
Liars are people who don't tell the truth.
The river Amazon flows into the Atlantic Ocean.
Two point four. You ask Lisa questions about herself and her family. Write the questions. You know that Lisa plays tennis. You want to know how often. Ask her.
How often do you play tennis?
Perhaps Lisa's sister plays tennis too. You want to know. Ask Lisa.
Does your sister play tennis?
You know that Lisa goes to the cinema a lot. You want to know how often. Ask her.
How often do you go to the cinema?
You know that Lisa's brother works. You want to know what he does. Ask Lisa.
What does your brother do?
You're not sure whether Lisa speaks Spanish. You want to know. Ask her.
Do you speak Spanish?
You don't know where Lisa's grandparents live. You want to know. Ask Lisa.
Where do your grandparents live?
Two point 5. Complete using the following. I agree. I apologize. I insist. I promise. I recommend. I suggest.
Mr. Evans is not in the office today. I suggest you try calling him tomorrow.
I won't tell anybody what you said. I promise.
In a restaurant.
You must let me pay for the meal. I insist.
I apologize for what I said. I shouldn't have said it.
The new restaurant in Baker Street is very good. I recommend it.
I think you're absolutely right. I agree with you.